welcome to another edition of Talking Sports and Fitness with Zeke. I'm Zeke, sometimes known as Mike Zielinski. Just a quick note, if you hear a little banging going on while we're chatting, it's because they're doing some construction here at 505 Penn Street, and we apologize for that, but hopefully they'll hold off their hammering. I'm honored today to have my guest is Conor Delaney. Welcome, Conor.
Thank you for having me.
Who is one busy guy. I mean, he is a marathon runner. He is the CEO of Good Life Financial Advisors, which has had phenomenal growth in recent years, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And father of 3 young children.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't forget that part. Yep.
You know, and you have an interesting story, and we're all about sharing stories on the People Chronicles. You came up, grew up in a family that had limited financial resources.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of ironic you're in the financial business now. And your diet was horrible. Mm-hmm. You didn't really do exercise. You were way overweight. How'd you change your life?
So I think a lot of it had to do with just, you go through experience of gaining a little bit of knowledge, and then sort of the life experiences and the circumstances that sort of are brought to before us and put on our plate. And for me, my twin brother and I were 2 of the biggest kids in our high school when we got there. And it was because really a lack of knowledge and a lack of opportunity to gain access to the things that would ultimately make us healthy from a diet standpoint, as well as just not knowing what we should be doing. Should we be walking? Should we be running? That type of stuff.
Did you play sports at all growing up?
I did. I played basketball. And I got to tell you, it's a lot easier to jump when you weigh 170 pounds than it is when you weigh 270 pounds.
Yeah.
Which really helped me later on.
It's better on the knees, too.
It is. It's a lot better. Knees, hips, back, everything. But for us, it was really after my father passed away that I was already on the track of getting healthy, but with him dying at 52 years old, it really focused me on what I was doing then to the point of where I am today, particularly from a lifestyle and a nutrition and health standpoint.
So you had the awakening, but you still had to pull this off. I mean, especially you were 270.
Yeah.
First couple steps when you started running had to be painful.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
Your cardio must have been terrible.
Oh, it was brutal.
Non-existent.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. The thing is, you can attribute certain people coming into your life, and God's got a certain way of moving people in as other folks have moved out. And for me, it was my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. Who actually, she wasn't anything at the time, and then she became the natural evolution. And she was a soccer player at Alvernia here. I came to Alvernia and played ice hockey for 4 years. Again, by that point, I'd started to get healthy, but really seeing Liz, the beacon of light. She was always positive, always happy, and she was healthy, not necessarily because she knew things that I didn't, but just because her lifestyle as a soccer player was much different than mine growing up in the environment that I grew up in. And I'll preface all that by saying I had great parents. My parents are both school teachers. People will say, hey, you're losing your dad at 17. That must have been pretty hard, and it was. But having somebody lay a foundation out for 17 years was far and in a way more than what a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So my parents did everything to support us and to culture, help us create the foundation of the people that we are today. It's just they didn't know what they didn't know. And so Liz had a little bit more of that knowledge base, and she really inspired me and motivated me to get on track with her. I remember the first time I went for a long run with her, a mile or 2 on the beach in New Jersey. And the whole time we're out there, she's talking. And finally I looked at her, I'm like, we can't be talking anymore. I can't breathe. Well, I can't have a good conversation with you because I'm just trying to keep my breath and stay up with you at this point. But every journey's got to start somewhere. And now I was just telling somebody before I came in here, I have about 7 or 8 folks in the community that have come to me and said, hey, Conor, can you help me out? I see where you came from and where you are now. And it's not any of this, isogenics or any of this products. I work for a living, but I get a kick out of helping people. There's nothing like looking at a county like Berks County, which is on the way up, but has hit a floor with being unhealthy and, having some of the issues that we have financially and with crime and stuff. And if we can just have a little bit of influence in making it a better place, then I get satisfaction and personal and selfish satisfaction out of being able to be a part of that change.
You know, it's all about relationships too. You referenced your parents, you referenced your then girlfriend, now wife, and a running start has been very helpful to you too. I know they have done a lot of amazing stories from people who have gone from being very obese to marathon runners. And there was a gentleman named Ray Piazza who, besides your wife, has really worked with you, correct?
Yep, I just had lunch with Ray. That's right. That's who I was just talking about.
You had kale for lunch, I assume?
We were at the new the new farmhouse kitchen on Penn Avenue, the first true organic juicing and restaurant place in Berks County, and was there for breakfast, was there for lunch, be there for. The thing is, you become a product of the people that you hang out with. Yeah. And a running start has done that really well with creating an ecosystem of people that are like-minded. They don't want to survive the way that so many people have become accustomed to surviving. They want to live, and their lifestyle and everything they do around it embodies that. And now you add in farmhouse right down the road. You add in great people in the community like Ray and all the things he's done on the 78 years he's been walking this earth. And it almost makes it easy for all I had to do was execute. I had the people around me. I had I formed that environment. All I had to do was get out of bed and do the job.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'd be remiss, but Kelly Garrity Haldeman is also part of that stable of runners, and
absolutely,
is now actually working for your company,
right? I looked at Kelly and I said she knows nothing about financial services at all, and has no experience in our industry or in our business. But I always said I can teach people the way that little ticker symbol at the bottom of the screen works. What you can't teach people is passion, integrity, and doing things the right way. Yeah. And Kelly checked all those boxes. The minute I met her, I'm like, you know what? She knows nothing about our industry. She's never been in this business before. You're hired. And you know, she's working out really well for us. She's just a great, inspiring person.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about your training. Obviously, you've completed Boston this year, correct? Have you run other marathons?
No, that was the first one. Yeah.
Wow. And how did it go?
You know, it went well. The people of Boston are unbelievable, and that's coming from a Yankee fan, so it pains me a little bit to say that. But you can't get better quality people than the folks that I had the opportunity to spend 4 hours and 9 minutes. It was supposed to be faster than that, but a couple things didn't go my way.
Yeah.
You know, but you can't get any better quality of those people. I remember I spent half the race just slapping high five with people and little kids and going out of my way. And actually at mile 15 is I went out of my way to get a high five, and I stepped on this little inverted railroad track the wrong way. And my leg cramped up, and from there to 26, I was cramping every 2 seconds, which is why I need to go back to Boston now and get my revenge on that course.
Somehow I think you'll do it.
I will, yeah, I will. But you know, but the people of Boston, I got to say, great people. They really, if you look at what happened there a couple years ago and what's happened in different parts of the world, you know, we look at Paris and associate Paris with France. You look at Boston, and if you're not from America, you're looking at America and saying, those poor people, look what happened in Boston, and their resiliency, their ability to get up the next day and say, you know what, we're not going to let this thing beat us down. We're going to lock our arms and we're going to kick butt together. You can't get better quality people than them.
Yeah, that's what they call it, Boston Strong.
Yep.
Now, you run a lot. How many miles a week do you average when you're training?
Probably, I mean, when I'm a couple of weeks before Boston, right before I started to taper, I was probably 50, 60 miles a week. You know, it's not about how many miles, as Ray always tells me, it's about the quality that you run those miles in.
All right, you're a CEO. How do you squeeze this in?
Oh, you know, a couple of days ago, you would have found me at the trail with my cell phone camera.
Somehow I knew there was a cell phone involved.
Yep, with the cell phone camera at 4:30 in the morning, making sure that I wasn't stepping on anything I shouldn't have been stepping on. So, you know, I being the CEO of a company and a dad and everything else, yes, there's a lot of responsibilities that go along with that, but we've also been blessed with the ability to have that pocket of time to be able to jump out of the office without needing to necessarily worry about whether I need to punch a clock or whatever, and get down to the track and do that. I don't often get a chance to do that here, but during the course of a normal day, but it just means I can start my day earlier and or run later. The other day I got home from a trip in Greenville, South Carolina. I pulled in the driveway at 10:50. My wife had the sneakers and the running shorts and the water by the door, threw it on, and out I went on a 10-mile run at 11 o'clock at night. You do those things because you have to fit the rest of your obligations into your life,
which
into
are
your
primary,
training, but not the other way around.
You know, real quickly, obviously the running, you also lift, but I've read where you consider diet to be like 50% of what you do.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and you know, the thing with the diet is that, you know, so many things that people think are good for you, and they're not. And so for me, it was very, very simple. Enough of the organic protein, raw protein, and keeping that sugar intake down. And the other thing is just you know, limiting the alcohol. We cut alcohol out a year ago, and that's a part of my business. You know, you go out with folks. And you know,
well, see, one of the things about runners, though, you should be able to drink a lot because you don't gain weight because you burn it off, right?
One would think, but I have a distinct disadvantage because of who I am genetically, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have that margin of error that Ray could do almost whatever he wanted to and still be successful.
Yeah.
I in order to keep up with a guy like that, I needed to be disciplined enough to cut certain things out.
Your discipline is amazing.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's you gotta kind of harness it in real tight.
I'd be remiss not to mention, because you recently were named by Investment News one of its 2017 40 under 40 for the amazing growth you've had with Good Life Financial Advisors. Mm-hmm. We only have a minute or two left, but just briefly give us a synopsis of what your company does and how you've had this remarkable growth. Can you do that in 2 minutes?
I will try. So my parents, again, you know, with the circumstance that happened, losing my dad the day after I graduated high school, I wasn't on a path to do this, and I had no leadership that was in the business world to do this. But what I saw was that Main Street America, Middle America, the terrain between Southern California and Manhattan, there's a lot of people that are in the rest of this country that need access to advice, that need help, that need somebody that they're not going to feel intimidated coming and talking to. And so what we've built at Good Life is a culture that, you know, our advisors look like this. You know, we're normal people that look more like community servants than we do Wall Street guys. And I think if you can bring that gap down, and if you can offer something at a reasonable price in a relatable fashion to the masses, that there's going to be success. And I might be onto something, and so far it's worked out pretty well for us, looking more like Google than like Merrill Lynch. Or I might be dead wrong, and y'all might talk to me in a few years, and I'll be in a teepee somewhere. But you know, I think if you can bring a relatable perspective to individual conversations, people will feel less intimidated and bring their guard down, which allows us to do better work on their behalf.
Well, you know, financial. You know, I tell my financial advisor next to my family, she's the most important person in my life.
Yep.
And especially when you get to a certain age, you know, and unfortunately, too many people in this country live day to day, and they're not seeing the big picture long term. And you know, and I was just 25 the other day, and then suddenly you're not 25.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
And investments are even more important.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, the technology has been great, but instead of looking at technology as a way to replace the jobs, which is what everybody says is going to happen, look at technology as a way to complement those people that are working on your behalf. Because what you can't trade in technology is the ability for your advisor to do this and say, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, take a step back off the ledge. We're okay. We're gonna get through this together. No computer algorithm's gonna be able to do that.
No.
You know, we're those emotional counselors as much as we are the guys.
You need that. You need that.
You know, so.
Well, you have one heck of a story.
It's fun.
And you're not even 40 yet.
No. Oh my gosh. No. 31.
All right. Well, So when you're a billionaire, you got to come back, especially when you run a few more marathons. Good luck with your training, with your family, with the business.
Thank you.
And hey, I'm inspired.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm not going to go home and eat a hamburger now, that's for sure. All right. Hey, take care. Don't forget to like the People Chronicles on Facebook and subscribe to the People Chronicles channel on YouTube. This is Mike Zielinski saying goodbye.
These community stories are made possible in part by BCTV, Susie Ray Design, Queen City Family Restaurant, Lamar Advertising, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, Reading Air, Lions and Hole, Peanut Bar, and Kutztown University.